In this video, why everything you've been told about potassium and kidney disease is a lie. Latest research confirm it. Eating high potassium foods, yes, I'm talking bananas, mangoes, and avocados, doesn't damage the kidneys of CKD patients. It actually protects them. Catherine here, I'm a doctor of natural medicine, and today we will finally debunk the big potassium lie. It's time to toss out those outdated diet rules that never help anyone, and finally learn how to use potassium-rich foods to your advantage. And I'm going to show you how to improve your kidney function by eating more high potassium foods, not less. But what if your potassium is too high to begin with, you ask? Well, don't worry, I'll also share the fastest, safest ways on earth to bring those numbers back to normal. No one should ever feel stuck or scared about potassium anymore. And before we dive into which high potassium foods are the absolute healthiest and how to shift your diet according to these new findings, there is a question we have to answer. Is everything they told you about kidney disease a lie? When it comes to the treatment for kidney disease, confusion might as well be the word of the day. One day, they tell you that ARBs and ACE inhibitors are your best friend. The next, that you should stop them before it's too late. One day, they tell you that if you have diabetes, you should eat more protein. The next, we find out that even with diabetes, you should have been eating close to zero protein if you don't want to end up in dialysis. Now, when it comes to potassium, the lies we will need to debunk are even more rooted in the conventional way of treating CKD. But it's finally time to stop all this confusion and start following a renal diet that's actually science-backed and effective. And I'm not just going to share with you the last scientific findings today. I will actually give you the food choice recommendations and tips I will give my patients in order to improve their kidney function. Now, before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, write a comment to tell everyone how much you love mangoes and avocados, to join my Telegram group, like my Facebook page, retweet all my tweets, and when you have done all that, get a huge flag with my name on it. Climb Mount Everest and plant my flag on top of it. Hurry though, climbing season's short and nobody wants to face an avalanche because they waited too long. Okay, let's move on and let's answer a very important question immediately. Which high potassium foods are so healthy that they're an absolute must for kidney health? Because if there is one thing the medical literature is clear on, it's this. Kidney patients can protect or even improve their kidney function by increasing potassium intake. But it's always potassium from foods, not from supplements or sport drinks. We never recommend potassium supplements for kidney patients. It's whole foods, always. And here's what's fascinating. Some high potassium foods aren't just not dangerous. They are actually powerhouses of nutrition. Their health benefits might be the secret behind all those success stories. So, which high potassium foods make the top of my list? Let's pull up my table, take a screenshot now if you want to remember this list. These are some of the healthiest high potassium foods on earth. The avocado is the first one on the list, and not just because it starts with an A. Avocados are loaded with vitamin C, E, K, B6, riboflavin, niacin, folate, pantothenic acid, and magnesium. And yeah, this stuff has really powerful kidney protecting properties. But the real superpower, the antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds you'd get from avocados and the heart-healthy diabetes fighting fat and fiber. I mean, it's clear that This little powerhouse of nutrition is very healthy and full of potassium. Another super healthy food that many people have been told to avoid is broccoli. Broccoli is a food with powerful science-backed detoxifying properties. It also boosts insulin sensitivity in diabetes patients. Research also tells us that eating broccoli fights the inflammation in the body. Beets are also on this list thanks to their vasodilator and blood pressure lowering properties. And then there is papaya. Not only does it fight constipation, but despite its potassium content, it might actually lower your serum potassium. Yes, it's true. So stay tuned. I'll explain how this works in the next part of the video. I will in fact share with you simple tips to get your potassium back to normal. In fact, as you can see, I only recommend these powerhouse foods to patients who already have their potassium levels under control. Now, if all of this still feels like a lot to take in, if you're staring at your grocery list wondering whether bananas are friends or foes, or if your current diet plan sounds more like a punishment than a path to healing, don't worry, that's exactly what I'm here for. I offer private one-on-one consultations where we cut through the noise, look at your lab reports, your medications, your symptoms, your whole picture, and create a renal diet plan that actually works for you. No guesswork, no confusion, no more hopping between foods, fads, and fear-based advice. Just a science-backed plan tailored to your stage of CKD and proven to help real patients take control of their health. So if you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed and finally feel empowered, send me an email at Catherine@newhopeforkidneypatients.com or click the link you'll find in the description below. Okay, back to the video now because there is another highly underrated superfood with diabetes fighting properties that I want to talk about. The sweet potato. Now wait a minute before starting to scream sugar on the top of your lungs. Yes, I know. Some of you are halfway through a 10-paragraph essay titled Sugar is the Devil and You're His Chef. But wait, don't rage type just yet because there is a trick here. Take a look at this infographic on screen right now. It's called the Cook and Cool Method. And no, it's not sorcery. By simply cooking and then cooling your sweet potatoes, you're not just meal prepping, you're rewriting their chemical destiny. It's true, with this method, what you get is less digestible carbs and more resistant starch, which doesn't spike your blood sugar, but instead calms it because it's fiber. Basically, you're turning a food that will normally make your insulin levels dance the cha-cha into a food that makes your insulin meditate like a Buddhist monk. I mean, in scientific literature, eating foods prepared like this has literally been observed improving insulin sensitivity. Yes, I know, it's incredible. So, what I'm recommending here is a cooking method that would really help people with diabetes and with kidney disease in general. You can use this trick on several foods, as you can see, including rice, pasta, and white potatoes, and what you will get is a lot less carbs and a lot more fiber, which you know has kidney protecting, diabetes fighting, and heart healthy properties. I mean, can you imagine that? You can cook potatoes to turn them into a kidney-protecting, diabetes-fighting food. Isn't that something? Now, if there is any keto influencer in my audience whose head is not exploded yet, well, I have one more ace up my sleeve. Yes, it's time now to make sure any keto influencer will go bananas, literally. Because if there is one food that gives nightmares to keto influencers more than anything else is the banana. So let's talk about what's probably the most underrated superfood on earth and the worst nightmare of any keto influencer, the humble banana. Now, what they never tell you about this fruit is that you can actually eat bananas to improve your glycemic control. It's true! Green bananas' high resistant starch content has been linked to a number of health benefits such as easing constipation, controlling diabetes and obesity, and preventing colon cancer. Please note that I'm literally reading this stuff from a review published in 2024 in the Journal of Food and Science Nutrition. And I know that keto influencers don't read scientific literature, but if they did, I would be very curious to know how they are explaining this review of studies. Because you see, I also have a second study which was published in a different paper, and incredibly enough, not only confirmed the notion that green bananas are healthy, it also put it to the test. They basically took 113 adults with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes and they started them on a diet. All of them. And all of them improved their blood sugar levels. Now, the interesting part, only half of the participants received something called green banana biomass or GBB, which is just a fancy way to call lightly processed green bananas. So, can you guess what happened to the diabetes patients that were also fed GBB? Well, at the end of the study, they had a significantly better blood sugar level. So, same diet, same everything else apart from adding bananas, and completely different results. Now guys, if this doesn't make you want to go out, buy a bunch of unripe bananas, boil them, blend them, and refrigerate them for later consumption, well, I don't know what will. Jokes aside, you shall be able to see on screen right now a simple way of making green banana biomass at home. This is what they use in this study because, you know, green bananas are not exactly tasty and they don't stay green for long anyway. So they use this very simple preparation instead, and you could do the same. You could, for example, add 20 grams a day of this preparation to your main meal. And look, I could hit you with study number 3, study number 4. Heck, I've got more banana studies than mosquito bras have functioning mitochondria. Because frankly, there is enough scientific literature supporting the notion that, you know, green bananas are great for diabetes and kidney health, that I could go on forever. But I don't want to put everyone to sleep, and most importantly, yeah, I think I made my point clear. This isn't plant propaganda. It's science, real science, not the I read it on a carnivore meme page kind. So unless you truly believe that every researcher on the planet is taking shady fruit money under the table, maybe, just maybe, the banana is not your enemy. There is, however, a very important question that needs an answer now. So, what should you do if your potassium levels are too high to begin with? Because it's incredibly important to point out that not everyone is supposed to start eating high potassium foods right away. In fact, if your serum potassium levels are too high to begin with, there is a chance that adding more high potassium foods can be making it worse. Now, as I was saying, studies report no association between potassium intake and too high serum potassium levels. But most healthcare providers, me included, are still recommending patients in the advanced stages of kidney disease to reduce the consumption of high potassium foods if their potassium levels are too high or if they are trending up, because we don't want to take any risks here. And frankly, if your potassium is too high, you should be focusing on getting it, back to normal right away. So take a look at my slide. If your serum potassium is out of that range, take action now. You need to bring it back to normal. And how do you do that, you ask? Well, there are actually 6 ways you can lower your potassium levels fast and safely. Let's see what they are now. First of all, if you're constipated, increase your fiber intake and take a laxative if needed. Yes, constipation isn't just uncomfortable. It can literally trap potassium in your body. When stool sits in the colon for too long, potassium is reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. This makes your levels rise even if you're not eating that much of it. A fiber-rich diet and a gentle laxative if needed can get things moving and help potassium exit stage left naturally. Second, if you're diabetic, get your fasting blood sugar under control. Take insulin if needed. High blood sugar doesn't just damage your kidneys, it also pushes potassium out of cells and into the bloodstream where it doesn't belong. That spike, that's your potassium rising. Insulin can push it back into the cells where it's safe. I mean, even ER doctors use insulin in emergencies to bring potassium down fast. So yes, managing diabetes is also managing potassium. Third, if you're on dialysis, make sure your dialysis is adequate. Dialysis is designed to filter potassium out of the blood, but if your levels are still too high, something is not right. Maybe your sessions are too short. Maybe you're missing treatments. Maybe your dialyzer settings need adjusting. Whatever the case, it's time to have a serious talk with your nephrologist or dialysis team to make sure the machine is doing what it's supposed to do, saving your life. Fourth, if you have hard to control blood pressure, treat blood pressure holistically, not just with medications. High blood pressure doesn't just harm your kidneys, it also disrupts your body's electrolyte balance, including potassium. And medications like ACE inhibitors or ARBs are actually considered one of the primary causes of high serum potassium in CKD patients. So make sure you're not only taking the right meds, but also supporting your blood pressure with lifestyle choices such as cut sodium intake, more fiber, hydration, physical activity, stress reduction, the whole package. Last but not least, if you have metabolic acidosis, consider sodium bicarbonate. Metabolic acidosis, or too much acid in the blood, is like potassium evil. It pushes potassium out of the cells and into your bloodstream, making levels spike. Sodium bicarbonate can buffer that acid, correct the imbalance, and gently coax potassium back into its proper place. Of course, dosage and timing matter, so get informed and talk with your doctor before taking it. However, when used right, sodium bicarbonate is one of the fastest ways to stop high potassium levels. So there you have it, a comprehensive and effective way to get your potassium under control safely. So there you have it, a comprehensive and effective way to get your potassium under control safely. And if you want to see more food with kidney protecting properties, my video up here is for you, and this is all for today. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Ciao!